That's right, ladies. Reeves Park has been converted to an old-time village for the annual medieval fair. Looking at Campus Corner, it's obvious to see that football boosts Norman's economy. But how does the time of the game affect how people spend their money? But many Oklahomans have actually never heard of the requirement that earns OU over $29 million each year. In the early days, water was deposited into pits like this one on the Judeman family farm. You'll notice there really isn't much vegetation here, and that's what they refer to as the saltwater kill. 7 weekends in the fall, Norman is swarmed by more than 80,000 football fans.
Just came down to support the team, have season tickets.
We like to support the economy.
Fans boost Norman's economy by hitting local businesses before they hit the road.
We, along with the athletic department, have estimated about $8 million comes into the community for every home football game.
You heard it right. Sooner fans pump $8 million into Norman's economy each home game weekend. While the entire town benefits, Campus Corner is a spending hub.
You walk up and down Campus Corner before or after a game, and naturally they've got much more traffic than University North Park with Target and Kohl's.
Looking at Campus Corner, it's obvious to see that football boosts Norman's economy. But how does the time of the game affect how people spend their money?
I usually make about the same, actually, because I come back out after the game if it's an earlier game.
Unlike Musgrove, some think sales are slower with earlier games.
It usually clears out pretty quick. We usually stay open about an hour after the game or so, maybe less. We don't exactly have a closing time, but usually it's not nearly as busy after it.
Though it may not seem like it to some game day vendors, Coranda thinks night games increase revenue.
The fans are going to spend that night after that night game. 2 o'clock game gets done at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Grab something to eat, and then they're driving home.
Early or late, Norman is always a winner during football season. Whitney, Ortega, OU Nightly. Oklahoma has one of the oldest and richest oil and gas histories in the country. But across the state, these pump jacks bring up more than just oil.
In this part of Oklahoma, they produce a lot of salt water and a little bit of oil. So they have no market for the salt water, and they have to get rid of it somewhere.
In the early days, water was deposited into pits like this one on the Judeman family farm. You'll notice there really isn't much vegetation here, and that's what they refer to as the saltwater kill. And it's one of the many reasons this method is no longer allowed.
When they started making some of the lakes, the big lakes around here, they had to stop that because, of course, what drains in the creeks goes into those lakes.
Today, the Judeman farm in most of the country uses a saltwater injection well for disposal.
It's a well that the oil companies use to dispose of excess salt water during their pumping process.
2 state-run organizations enforce safety measures. The Oklahoma Corporation Commission focuses on issues below ground, and the Oklahoma Energy Resource Board focuses above.
When you want to permit a saltwater disposal well, you're required to make sure you have proper casing in the well.
2 casings minimum are required, but 3 are usually used, as seen in this illustration. The surface, production, and tubing casings are all set and then cemented in.
We require a minimum of 2 casing strings. 1 casing string is set to protect the freshwater zone. We call that surface casing. We make sure that those zones do not have any possibility of having any leaks back to the surface. And then the second thing to do is make sure that they're not going to operate at a pressure that will create fractures that might allow leakage.
The commission also assesses damages and helps clean up oil-related accidents like this one. While saltwater deposits are not unique to Oklahoma, the Corporation Commission and OERB are. Whitney, Ortega, OU Nightly.
Please keep in mind when you visit the king, you are to curtsy, and you, sirs, are to bow.
After being announced and given instructions on how to address him, King Henry I spoke with us about his medieval reign.
My son and I figured yesterday that we've been coming and attending the fair for about 16 years, and but the last 4 have been monarch. We had been part of the royal court for several years, and the former king and queen retired from the position, and we were asked to take over.
King Henry I, or George Williams in real life, said he and his family love medieval history, and it's always been a part of their life. But for others, it's just a glimpse into the past.
It is a wonderful chance for everybody to take a step away from reality and forget all their worries and all their cares for the whole weekend and just relive a simpler time.
But Eckhart says the fair isn't just a fun event.
you're having fun, and all of a sudden at the end of the day, you've realized that you've learned something.
Local schools mix fun and learning by taking field trips to the festival, like Independence Middle School in Yukon.
I always thought it was really cool, and it interested me because it's like something that actually happened, not just like fiction.
The 12-year-old was all dressed up for the day, as were many fairgoers. But if you don't have a costume, don't worry. You can buy a costume from one of the on-site vendors, or you can make like King Henry and just carry a turkey leg around.